Okay, welcome everybody to this evening's XAUUSD webinar. My name is Duncan Cooper. Tonight's webinar is Forex Trading Live Market Analysis, just to give you a heads up what's coming up through the week. Risk and trade management, number one trading tool, understanding risk to reward. That will be tomorrow's webinar at 7 p.m. Sydney time. Just head over to the webinar page to register your interest. And then on Thursday, live Forex market review, same time, 7 p.m. Sydney time. All right, if everybody can read through the disclaimer before we move along. If you're on our YouTube live stream, I cannot see the chat, but you're more than welcome to watch, or you can follow the link that I've given so you can join us in the webinar. For those in the webinar, I've got the chat box open and the Q&A box open, so you can use those to talk to me. So I'll just give you a moment or two to read through the disclaimer. Or I'll move along now. If you don't know me, my name is Duncan Cooper. I'm the Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor here at ACY Securities. And I am full-time Forex trader. I've been trading now for more than 15 years in the Forex market, managing for more than 10. If you want to contact me, my email's there, duncan.cooper@acy.com. And if you want to connect with me through the week, go to our website, acy.com, go to the Market News tab, or our YouTube channel at ACY Securities Australia. And if you want to connect with me personally, just head over to my Linktree page using my handle there. If you want to get access to the chart lists and templates that I'm using, then just contact Nathan Bray. His email's there on screen, and he'll be more than happy to set you up with my MT4 layouts. And I'll put his details in the chat in a moment or two. Just bear with me a moment. All right, that's in the chat. All right, so let's get into the news for the week. I'm just going to refresh this page. All right, so not too heavy news this week to last week, but let's just go through. So tonight, 11 p.m., there's no red items, but there is the US S&P CS Composite 20 HPI year-on-year coming out. Then getting into midnight on Wednesday, we have the US CB Consumer Confidence data. Moving into the morning of Wednesday, at 11:30 a.m. for the Aussie, we've got the CPI year-on-year. And it's an all-day event, so it says, but at some point it will come out during the day, the Eurozone German prelim CPI month-to-month data. Then getting into Thursday at 10:30 p.m. for the US, we've got the prelim GDP-QQ, unemployment claims figures. Into midnight Friday, we then have the pending home sales month-on-month for the US. Morning on Friday, 11:30 a.m., China manufacturing PMI. And into the evening, 10:30 p.m. for Canada on Friday, GDP month-on-month, and US core PCE price index month-on-month. So Friday's data could definitely affect the market there. And then unemployment claims there for the US on Thursday. All right, so first news event coming up will be moving into Wednesday this midnight. These times are my time, Queensland, New South Wales time, the US CBC conference. So it's a much lighter news week. Of course, tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. for the Aussie, CPI year-on-year. So the market's going to be definitely looking at that for the Aussie crosses. Does that downtick? Whatever happens here, the market's going to ascertain or try to ascertain, are we going to get an interest rate cut this year? Or if the figure moves up, are we actually going to get a hike? Or what's going to be happening? So for sure, for the Aussie dollar and the Aussie yen, the market's going to be looking at that figure. All right, so let's get into the charts now. Pairs to US dollar definitely moving up. I just want to get into, first of all, the dollar index. which it's actually, going to move to the weekly chart first of all. Just get rid of that fib because you can't see much with that on, but it's across the weekly range. We're still in an uptrend on the weekly chart here till we break this low here. So we're up, pull back, up, and we're pulling back. So until we break this low area here, we are still holding to a weekly uptrend, and we did finish positive last week. So whilst the day chart is still showing you lower tops, we did actually finish positive last week. Of course, we're a little bit negative this week, but just holding at this 105.027 level. And the weekly range is here that we're holding within. And we are holding at the 79% level. We're coming down here. I'm not so sure, but we may be trying to put in a higher bottom here. We'll have to wait and see. We're at the 62% point of that pullback. We've been holding at this 79% level. Forex broke, moved above. Now we're pulling back to the 62% level of this range. And are we going to put in a higher bottom somewhere here? Start to watch for that over the next few trading days. If we start to put in a higher bottom, we're going to see the pairs to US dollar move down. Now, I know the pairs to US dollar moving up. And of course, this could just continue to move straight down. But with it holding at that largest 79% level across the weekly range, you know, if we've tested it again today, if we hold, have a positive close today, are we anticipating that maybe the US dollar is going to start to get stronger, and pairs to the US dollar could be topping out because they've very much moved up, high up the range. Okay. All right, let's get into the S&P 500 now. It's very high up here. Still high tops and bottoms, but we're almost at the all-time high. So would be nice to see a corrective dip and then look for a lower level to get in if you wanted to get long, I think, on the index. But of course, the market doesn't need to do what I want. I did notice on the 4-hour chart that we had quite a significant decline down on that day, and we're coming back up to fill the imbalance formed on these two candles here. And there's lots of 4-hour highs to the left there. So 5,330, 79% level there. Wouldn't not surprise me to see maybe some resistance there opposite all those highs to the left. And with that big drop, we may well be coming up maybe to, if we start to hold, reject 5330, looking on a lower time frame, we might see a move down this way this week. We are quite high up at the moment. All right, so it's at least going to come back up and fill the imbalance, which is almost done. There's maybe a fraction more, but if we start to reject up there at 5330 down the 4-hour chart, then we may turn over and put in maybe a lower top on the day chart just to move back down the range a little bit, okay? All right, let's get into euro dollar now. Euro dollar's been moving up through Asia, topping out a little bit at the moment on the London session intraday. This is the 15-minute chart. Now, the day chart, the bigger ranges that we're seeing, we've got some similar ranges here. Hopefully you can see them. We move down. We have this corrected move up here. Then we move down. And then this is corrective up here. If we take out this high, the high time frame trends turn, higher than the day chart. The big dominant monthly trend that's down at the moment will turn potentially back to up. So this is theoretically a lower top on the monthly chart, lower bottom. This is potentially coming up to form a lower top somewhere. It's been a fraction short of the 79% level. I'm still in the frame of mind that we could long term still hold that pattern. All right, so we haven't taken out this high where we were a fraction short of the 79% level. Okay. Are we coming up here to fail at this 79% level? There's a 79% level in here, which I'll put in a moment on the 4-hour chart. We're going to fail here or around this area to put in a lower top on the daily. Of course, we could move through here, but we have failed 2 weeks ago at a nice resistance area, the 79% area just short of. And this is last month's high. False broke, retested. We could well come back up to 108.84 and retest, but then do we hold? So can we get up to there? Time will tell. So I've moved down to the 4-hour chart and we draw a fib across that range. You can see we're already starting to put a reversal candle there on the 4-hour chart, last candle formed. So we may be starting to top out up here. It's well worth watching. We have some US news coming in later in the day that do we come up to 108.84 and then turn over. But at the moment, it's looking like maybe we are topping out at the 79% level. We do have now on the 4-hour chart, sorry, on the 15-minute chart, you can see the price action is already starting to go lower bottom, lower top, down. So if you want to get in up here at this high level, if you think we're reversing, just draw a fib in. On this little move and look for a rally to the 62.79% area and look to sell the next 15-minute rally. Okay, so are we topping out up there? We could be topping out up here, as I've just been saying on the day chart, to form a lower top to start the next leg down. Okay. All right, Euro Yen continues its up move after we had that intervention period down here. It's very, very high. Now at the moment on the monthly charts, we are wanting to be above this high, but it is very much worth understanding that we're in a sell zone up here. You have to be very, if you're going to get long up here, you're going to have to monitor your trades very carefully because we're definitely in a sell zone historically. So you want to look to maybe try and buy some form of a pullback intraday. Don't leave too much risk on your trade. Get it to break even fairly quickly because we're definitely in a sell zone here. Yes, it can continue high for sure, but we're definitely in a historical sell zone. So monthly trend is up, the weekly trend is up. If we can't over the next week to 2 weeks, I'm just watching to see if this is going to top out up here. It's very high. Just watching to see. So that monthly high I was just discussing is at 169.95. That rejection candle is at 171.55. I'm just watching to see in this clear sell zone up here, does it give a signal that it wants to top out up here? Really, if you wanted to get long, you should have gotten long as we started to come back up here. Now we're getting into quite clearly where people would take their profits. And with that in mind, do you want to be trading long in an area where everybody else is maybe taking their profits? So just monitoring at the moment to see if we get some form of strong rejection up here. Maybe on the 4-hour chart, do we get a shift of structure? At the moment, structure is getting support on that monthly top at 169.95. You can see we pulled back here over the last day or two. Got support to continue up. Now, if you're still bullish, you want to see if we can pull back to this level once more. So it's 169.95. Can you then see an intraday set up to trade up off that level? But really, I'm actually looking for a break of that structure, first of all. And then can it come up to form a lower top area on the 4-hour chart? And if it can, then I would start to look for the opportunity to get short. All right. But if you're still brave enough to be getting long up here, you want to look at pullbacks. Ideally, can it pull back to 169.95, maybe to 170, hold intraday, and then look to get long. Like at the moment, we look at the 15-minute chart. You don't want to be buying anywhere near close to the high of the day. So your opportunities are, you could be dragging a fib from that low up. And I would look low down here. 79% level, 170.12. The figure's down there at 170. Okay. And of course, 169.95 down here. I would look down here for opportunities to get long. You can see where support's been coming in. This area here for sure. All right. Just above 170 at the moment. Support has been coming in intraday. So don't get caught missing out on the top. Be patient, wait for a pullback. All right, euro pound is right down on support. If you go to your monthly chart, you'll see you're on a monthly level of support here. Weekly, lots of weekly support down here. And day chart, you can see today we can't hold down below the 84.98 level, so 8,500. Very difficult to hold below 8,500, so we're going to get a reversal back up. Now, the actual trends are down following last week's decline. And we have weekly resistance there, 85.15. Weekly support down here at 84.98. So support and resistance, there's only a 17 pip range there between weekly resistance and weekly support. So at the moment, what I can see is there's going to be a 79% retracement on the 4-hour downtrend here, which we've just hit, and hit weekly resistance. So trends are down. It's just, starting to break below the higher bottom on the 15-minute chart. I would look right now for a rally back to 85.15. Look to sell against that level. Stop would go above here. And you get relatively tight entry there. It's not going to cost you probably more than 10 pips to see if this area is going to hold today, to once more move down to weekly support. And can it break through? If you can't break through, you'd have to get out of that short and maybe think about, do I want to look for a setup down here to trade back up? Now, what might happen over the next 24 hours, 48 hours is we get a clear break above 85.15, and then you want to look for 85.15 intraday to be support on a pullback to move back up the range. All right, pound dollar, which was moving up yesterday, has made a fresh high today, but it's a little bit heavy at the moment. So to the day chart, let's come back up the range. This is actually a monthly top to a lower bottom on the monthly chart. So this is all this move up here, been relatively strong over the last couple of weeks, is all corrective of this downward move. If I just draw in the bigger swings here, all right, now we could still come higher. We could come up to 128.27. That's a weekly high. So that would potentially, if it got up to as high as that, potentially we could be dealing with a large head and shoulder pattern. The longer picture trend is still down, even though we've been correctively moving back up from the April low until we take out this high up here. So we could really just be coming up here to put in a lower top to show that kind of pattern long term. Now, we don't have to come up to that high over here. We've just moved into, there's a resistance area here at the moment from this high up to this high. You can see all these highs to the left. So there's a very strong resistance area here from back in time. This move up to maybe forming the head was a false move above all these highs to the left, and then we fell down. So this area here, we've just tried to get above 127.72, and you can see it's just holding there at the moment. It's actually come up to fill an imbalance in this area, and we'll just drop to the 4-hour chart now. Be nice just to see exactly where that imbalance was. Did we fill it all? Yeah, we have filled it all because it actually got filled. The imbalance was here, so that's all been filled. But really, this has come all the way back up to this drop area here. And you can see the last 4-hour candles, rather negative. It's a little bit negative up here. Trend on the 4-hour is still up in terms of structure here at the moment. So the question is this just going to have 1 or 2 4-hour candles down before continuing up? And you have to ask yourself, in the area where it is, back to the daily chart, is this where you want to be getting long? Because for me, getting long would have been back here. This is where people are going to be maybe taking their profits at the moment in this sell zone. So maybe you're very bullish and you think it's going to go much, much higher. And if that's the case, look at least for a dip. So the 4-hour range at the moment is here. So look for a 62 to 79% pullback. Can you see it getting support intraday? So we got last month's high here at 127.09. So 127.09 is in between the 62 79% area of that range. That would be a good area to start to watch for a pullback too. And if we get support down there, and of course, yes, seeing it turning around on a lower time frame, can you see yourself to buy to get long from down in the approximate 127.09 area? That's the bullish scenario if you're bullish. If you're more bearish and you think we're into the sell zone up here at the top, at this 79% level, which is at 127.66, we're trading at 127.64. So, if we start to on the 15-minute chart, we're already showing a downtrend on the 15-minute chart. So if we're starting to want to move back below this 79% level, you could just simply be selling, selling here, stop just above this area. And if we have topped out up here, it's not going to come back and take you out. And the risk, in this area, by putting your stop there, you're only risking at the moment 20 pips. And, if we are topping out here for a long-term move down, that's great risk reward. So are you bullish or bearish to pound dollar? Of course, at the moment, the day chart price action structure is quite clearly up. And it could just continue up. So you could get aggressive to get short if you thought we were topping out. Or if you want to see a little bit more price action before you want to get short, that's fair enough. You could be waiting for the 4-hour structure here to turn to down before getting short. This was Friday's low. I thought down here when the news came out on Friday afternoon and we went further down, I thought we had already topped out here because we had lower tops and bottoms forming in the 4-hour chart. But of course, we've moved back up. So we're actually at the low of the week on Friday afternoon, and now we're actually at a new high for the overall move. So it hasn't been that easy trying to work out if you're topping out here or not, but that's trading. So you might want to wait for, price action structure to really show a downtrend forming there in the 4-hour chart before maybe looking to get short. But we are just holding at the 79% level of that major range. So it is definitely, and, just lost my line in here somewhere. Didn't want to lose that line. All right, got that line in this area from here to here is the resistance zone that the market can definitely, yes, trade into, but are we going to hold in that area or move back down from? So really watching to see if we're going to get a reversal. If we get a nice reversal candle today, that may at least give a clear sign that maybe we are topping out up there. All right, pound yen. It is almost at the sell-off high up here. Is it going to move up and through, or is it going to create some kind of double top here? So really, I think the key would be to wait just to see how the day finishes. Do we see a nice reversal candle up there today? As well, this line is not from this high. This high is slightly lower. If you go to your monthly chart and you squash it in, and there's an old low over here, which is a little bit hidden, but I've got it in. And yes, you know, we're not quite able to quite get to this area of old support from back in time. So the question is, monthly trend is up and the weekly trend is up. And the reality is the day trend is up here too. But it's coming up to test that significant rejection intervention high. What's going to happen there? Are we going to move above, or are we going to stall and reverse? All right. It's barely had a pullback in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days. So it's definitely due a pullback. Whether or not it just has 1 or 2 days down before it gets to a slightly lower level where buyers come in to push it through, or are we going to get a major reversal? So I'm just watching. Do we get a day candle up here that rejects? Do we maybe see 4-hour structure change to break a low, come up for a rally? You know, 4-hour structure chart starts to change down. That may give you the confidence to start to look for a short. At the moment, spending the best part of a day here just going sideways underneath that top at the moment. All right, Aussie yen. And of course, tomorrow, I just want to refresh my memory. Is it tomorrow? It definitely is tomorrow. Aussie CPI, 11:30 a.m. It's going to affect the Aussie crosses. So Aussie yen, it's still holding its uptrend here. It actually got support on the monthly high here. So at the moment, it's now maybe wanting to stay above 102.82. All right, that's that pullback to there. And we're coming up to test 104.55. Now, again, we're getting very high up, close to the intervention high at 104.93, so almost 105. Now, CPI data is going to be definitely impacting this pair tomorrow, so really, you know, trying to hold a position could be difficult if you've only got a tight stop. And really, if you wanted to get long, you maybe should have gotten long back here, because now you're into the profit-taking resistance zone of where price action has been more recently. So not showing an opportunity to sell yet. Again, if we're going to get a sell opportunity, I think on these yen pairs at the moment, I would much rather see a break of structure. So there's a low here, a rally, and a lower top form, and then I can look for a short. Getting long, a bit more difficult because we're in the sell zone up here at the moment. So I could get long down here at 103.46 if we stay range bound. So we've moved up. So that's, you know, we put in a negative 4-hour candle at this top here. So maybe we're going to hold here. But I could definitely look for a long down there again at 103.46, because we could just stay range bound through the week. All right, but I can't get long up here at the top. And I would wait for the CPI data to come out tomorrow. So I'm going to actually look to maybe see if we can start to get a structural break to the downside. But at the moment, you know, I'm just going to drop it to the 15. 15 is very sideways here. Doesn't want to move above 105.55. You could maybe be looking for a cheeky sell up there at 104.55. Tight stop. And come the CPI data tomorrow, it could be down at 104. and at least you could be risk-free on your trade and then see what the CPI data brings. And, you know, if data comes out and it's going to be negative for the Aussie, then we may see a move below 104 tomorrow. But you have to decide what kind of game plan you want ahead of the CPI data. Okay, Aussie dollar. Go to the daily. Now, we have actually been selling off over last week. That's the late December high down to this current year's low. 62% level there at 66.76. Today, we're coming up to test this significant high at 66.67, and you can see we're rejecting already. And there's a 62% level overlapping that high there from that sell-off, moving back up at the moment. So are we actually going to see another move down? So we've obviously moved down already. We moved above that high, fell back below. Today we're testing that high. We're going to see that price action. All right, so for our chart at the moment, it's just showing you one negative candle. It'd be nice to see the structure change, especially when we got CPI coming out tomorrow. So ahead of CPI, I'm not going to do anything, but tomorrow we could come up, we could spike up to 66.87, the 79% level, then hold, and then turn over to the downside. All right. If you're more bullish, and we're waiting for the CPI data to come out, just wondering where I'm getting that line. That line must be a lower time frame line. This one. All right. I'm just looking for some levels to be a buyer if you spike down and you are more bullish, but really the structure here in the daily chart is a little bit more negative. I think it actually doesn't really support the buyers. So I would much prefer to see where we may rally to. I'm not going to do anything until tomorrow, but you know, if you did get up to 66.87, it could even get back up to 67. We've had two failures up here at 67, just above. So from 66.87 up to 6,700 tomorrow for CPI. If we got back up into that area tomorrow and then started to hold, that would be a great area to watch. But who knows where we're going to be when the CPI data comes out or afterwards. At the moment, if you think there's plenty of time to start to get ready for a move down, then we're already starting to move down from 66.67. That level could well get tested today when the US data comes out. So we could see it pop back up. That level could get retested and held. So that would be a level I would watch later in the day, 66, 67. Does that get tested when we get the US CB consumer confidence come out? Do we get a little bit of a move back up? All right. It's definitely failing. You go back to the day chart at the moment. It's definitely failing where I would expect it to in terms of resistance. So if he retests and holds once more into today after the news, then you still got best part of 12 hours for the market to move down ahead of the CPI. All right, New Zealand yen, which is very bullish. I've got a fib just to show you the fib range here. We're definitely in the profit-taking phase, right, of the move. Yes, it can keep going up, but just logically, if you're long, how many more days are you going to hold this long before you take your profit? Because we're almost at the 127 extension. So, you know, we're getting into the profit-taking phase for sure, where we should have at least a corrective move back down. All right, so I'm just watching to see how that correction maybe starts to unfold or not. But being a buyer at such high levels, for me, it's just too high up now. I have to see some kind of pullback. So it's just a pair I'm going to have to monitor for that. In terms of historical, we're very much in a sell zone from the monthly chart. Okay, the last highest major high back in 2006 is at 97.75, so about 100 pips, 105 pips away, and that's the highest one I've got. My data goes back to 88, so we're definitely in the sell zone historically. Doesn't mean to say it can't trade above the high, but usually when even if you trade above the high, at historical reference points like that, we will normally then reverse back down. So, let's take the opposite side. When we were down here, what happens? We're getting very close to this historical low. We move completely back the other way. All right, so don't be surprised to see this fail here to move back down this way. All right, but at the moment, it's not giving you a signal to do that. But you need to be very aware of where we're at in the historical scene of things. So monthly trend is up and the weekly trend is up, and quite clear the day trend is up. As I've just shown you, we are very much getting overextended now within the fib tool range here, getting towards the 127 extension where it's the profit taking area. So it's worth watching through the week. If we don't pull back and we get to 97.75, then if we start to see 4-hour structure change or a big 4-hour candle rejection up there, you might want to start to look for a reversal. All right, New Zealand dollar. What do you think after last week's interest rate decision? We had this big rejection at the 79% level here. That's the upward move to finish, but quite clearly it's still getting some support. Just a little bit above the 79% level of this range. It's just coming into, and this is just, looking at price action from an experienced point of view. We consolidated in this area, okay? Back in time, I just want to talk about this area. We consolidated, right? We false broke above, came down, double topped, and of course we moved down. So where are we today? We're at the top of this range area here. These two moves up, 1 and 2, were just a false break of this area. So I'm just watching today to see what happens. Do we get a rejection at this level? Is it going to start to offer the opportunity maybe to get short? It's very high up. Do you want to be, getting yourself long above the 79% level here of this major range? All right, it's definitely the profit-taking phase of where it's at. So I'm not really interested in getting long. I'm not interested in getting short unless I see a signal. Tyler, I see a question coming in about WTI. I will have a look at that. All right, so some of these pairs at the moment, I just know they're very high levels, and I'm not necessarily wanting to short them just because they're at high levels. I need to see a clear signal, but I'm having to ask myself the question, at such high levels now, do I want to be a buyer? All right. So just watching to see if we move back down, back below 61.39, the 79% level where we were holding last week. So we get a reversal candle here back below 61.39 today. Then, trying to get short maybe tomorrow round about 61.39, stop above today's high, may offer you a good opportunity to get how you could, construct a short maybe for a move back down this range. All right, dollar Canadian, it is right on support. So the day chart trend is remaining up here on the day chart. Higher top, it's pulling back to this old consolidation area tops, where it's, it consolidated for a long period of time here, broke out, it held here, false broke below there. It's already pretty much trading down to 36.13. All right, this is a weekly top, daily top. Now, the 4-hour trend at the moment is down, but you can see it's come down to that low. You can wait for structure to show an uptrend on the 4-hour chart before looking to engage, or the 50-minute trend has already turned up. Might be turning back to down at the moment. I would, if you were here early in the day, you could have gotten long through here, be at break even, waiting to see if this can move back up the range. Now, this could well come back down to 136.13 again today. Hasn't quite traded there yet. It's back to the 4-hour chart. But it's well worth just watching today. Do we come back down to 136.13, maybe down to 136.00? And if we reject down there, we turn around, look for an intraday trade set up to get long. We're clearly down at support at the moment on this pair. Now, of course, support can break, but we're trading down to support. So we're starting to hold there a little bit on the 4-hour chart. We may get another test of that area, but if we get another test and another hold, then we may see the opportunity down there, getting long down here to trade up, back up the range. You could be putting your stop down here if you wanted to, below this low. You wanted to get, at a really good price down here, stop below there, below there. If the price trades below here, the trend's going to change. So as long as the trend doesn't change, then, getting long down here, stop down there, you're risking about no more than 40 pips. And great risk reward back up the range. All right, dollar yen. Day chart is in an uptrend and all the other time frames are in an uptrend. So the month is up. It got support on the pullback when we had an intervention at the old highs here. Weekly is up, higher bottom. Now it could form a lower top. If we start to see that forming over the next few weeks, then of course that's going to signal a shift to the downside, but we're not seeing that yet. And the day trend here has been mixed, turning to up at the moment. Higher bottom, higher top. It's just holding above this high at the moment. So you could look at 156.76 to be support today if you're bullish. So on a 50-minute chart here, 62 level, 156.75, and that tops at 156.76. So that would be an area to look for support if you pull back. Okay. Not easy going at the moment, though, the dollar yen. It's kind of a little bit wishy-washy as it keeps kind of flitting a little bit above and a little bit below 156.76 at the moment. But it's got a little bit of strength in it today as we're starting to see the pairs to the US dollar moving down. Gold. On support here on the day chart. It's got support in between 79% and 62% on this area of support from over there, 23.24. So that will be the level to watch if it came down for another test. 4-hour, just putting in a little bit of a lower top there. So it may come back down into that zone, 23.24. I think that's, and you could just draw a fib across that whole area here at the moment. Look to the 79% level of that area. So 23.32 down to 23.24. I would look at that area for support. See where it comes down there again to hold, to move back up. There's some imbalance up here that maybe needs to be filled. So price would need to come up to fill it. So look for a pullback to logical support. Okay. Now, Tally, you want me to look at WTI. All right, the monthly at the moment is a little bit mixed. Just with this minor lower top here, but the bigger swings, we have higher top, higher bottom. Weekly is in an uptrend, looks like a 62% retracement at the moment of that range. And we're forming some kind of, support in this zone. Now, it does look a little bit like a reversal down the 62% area. We're back in this kind of consolidation area, is in the same area. See how we consolidated here? Before breaking higher, that area became support. So now we're kind of getting a little consolidatory. So we're going to see a break, pull back, move up. Could be starting to form some kind of base there to go higher. All right, that's my thoughts. If we break this low down here, 71.44, that's going to change the weekly trend. So all right, hopefully that helps. All right, just before we wrap up, just to see what the euro is doing. All right, so the euro is just coming up for a 50-minute rally here at the moment. All right, 62% rally here. We've got a little micro rally. To continue the 50-minute downward trend structure that we're seeing at the moment. It's the pound doing on the 50. It's just coming back up to have another test of 127.72. That could well hold as intraday resistance today. So you could look for a tight entry to short that at 127.72. So we'll see what the Aussie's doing. It's not back up yet at 66.67. All right, so that's my thoughts on the market at the moment. Pairs to the US dollar are very high up there. I don't know whether they're topping out. I would need to see, a nice pullback if I wanted to get long. But I'm not that unconvinced that maybe we're at the top of the range. We're at some 79% levels where we could top out, put in a lower top on the monthly charts to move back down. So next news item for the US is coming in at 12 midnight, my time. The USCB consumer confidence. So we'll see what that prints tonight. That can definitely drive the market. And then tomorrow morning, we got the Aussie inflation data. So that is definitely going to impact the Aussie crosses, okay? So be very much aware. You may see some opportunities to get, Aussie dollars already starting to sell off. Sold off a week and a half ago or so. Is it coming up to put in the lower top for the move back down the range? So if the CPI data doesn't come in, it comes in a little bit lower. that Aussie is going to be moving down for sure. All right, I'll leave you with those thoughts. If you want to join me tomorrow, I'm going to be going through risk and trade management tomorrow and looking at risk reward. And then more analysis on Thursday. Webinars this week are at 7 p.m. my time. Or sorry, 7 p.m. my time and Sydney time. So if you want to join me, just head over to the webinar page up here, register your interest, and I look forward to seeing you then. Other than that, everybody, thanks very much for joining me today. Have a great trading day. And if I don't see you, have a great trading week. And I look forward to seeing you whenever you have the time to join me next time. Thanks, everybody.